Well, all of the morons in Portland go crazy over this new bridge, which I'm sorry, I'm not excited about it at all. To me, it's just a boondoggle and an illustration of the death of the middle class, with a government who has no money to provide employees with decent health care, or at least health care that the Europeans have, but they have 1.5 billion to build this light rail line, including this bridge, to a town of 20,000. While the public is obsessed with that nonsense, this public in Portland is very easily manipulated by these things, I've noticed, which is surprising, because I've always considered the people in Portland more enlightened than most of the American cities. While people are going bananas over this, or maybe it's just a creation of the media, it's possible that none of this hysteria is actually happening. It could be a creation of the Portland media, which easily creates its own news, and we've seen it over and over. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about something that's actually serious. I'm here to talk about the upcoming trial of Lane Jensen, which has gotten lost recently in the news. But this is coming up now in less than 3 weeks, and we need to understand the significance of this prosecution. Roberta Alstead, the TriMet public relations specialist, has taken it on her shoulders to go to the lengths of trying to paint Lane Jensen as some kind of a maniacal, harassing stalker. Now, anybody that's followed all of this and knows the players knows this is a completely trumped up bullshit charge. And she must be doing this at the behest of other TriMet managers, because there's just nothing there. There's nothing there. And when you look at the police reports surrounding this, several things really stand out to me. Number one is Alstead blocked his number originally after the first incident, but then unblocked it, which leads me to believe that she wanted him to text her again so she could spring this trap. I am convinced that Jensen fell into a trap that TriMet set for him. So that's a big question, is why in the world did you unblock your number? And the second question is, why in the world didn't you get a restraining order, which is a fairly simple procedure? You just go down to the courthouse. I think there's a specific time in courtroom that they hear these things every week, and get a restraining order. Easy. No trial required, nothing. She didn't do that. She didn't do, her and the TriMet staff didn't do that. No, they waited for him to have this kind of charge, because to them, threatening jail is more effective to shut him up. And everybody who understands TriMet knows how they are. This is pretty much how they would do business. They would figure out some way to entrap you. They do this with employees all the time. Figure out some way to entrap you and then spring that trap, and then they have the evidence. So we have some serious problems with her. She's just downright out and out lying about the harassment here. It's a complete lie. There was never any harassment to her. Both of the questions, there were 2 messages sent in the course of 5 months. Okay, that's separated by 5 months. And they both were about her job at TriMet, and she refused to answer. So we have a very suspicious plaintiff here, and I really hope that she goes to trial, and I'll have somebody there. They might, and then the next thing is how Kopic. Okay, this guy Kopic, I have a lot of questions about him. Look at how low he stooped. First of all, that second bust for Jensen, they gave him inaccurate release instructions the first time he was arrested. There was nothing, it was very specific. It says, don't put her on your blog and don't communicate with her. It didn't say you can't even talk about her. Don't forget, we're talking about a TriMet public relations official. She's issuing public statements, and these people in the justice system are telling Jensen, you cannot respond to a public statement she makes because it's her. How fucking absurd can you get? So we have this guy Kopic, who I'm really wondering about the ethics of this man. I'm really curious if he has any ethics, because he allowed this second bus to go through, and then he put this ridiculous bail, $46,000, when somebody who beat up a bus driver physically got $10,000. So we have the questions of a liar in Roberta Alstead, and then we have a complicit prosecutor in Copic. Now, we've seen plenty of articles about prosecutorial abuse. You know, if the prosecutor says this is the charge, what are you going to do about it? You see how much power they have? They can charge you with whatever they want, and you can't do anything about it until the trial. So we have this public relations official who arrested Lane Jensen a second time because he commented on a public statement she made with this complicit district attorney who's allowing all this, who's wasting the public tax dollars on a prosecution of a basically harmless man, Lane Jensen, who's never hurt anybody in his life. He's using the justice system. He's wasting the justice system because he won't be reasonable. You know, he wants some, I don't know what the plea deals are, but last time I heard it was, you know, jail time and 3 years for something ridiculous. I mean, so he's not willing to give either, and so he's this unreasonable, complicit co-conspirator as far as I'm concerned. So this should be a concern for everybody that this is actually going to trial, and that we've seen a district attorney waste taxpayer funds on a stupid trial. When you have murderers and, well, maybe not, well, even murderers, but you have people on assault, guilty of assault, walking the streets, you know, and getting better plea deals than Lane Jensen gets because he sent 2 messages to Roberta in 5.5 months. It's very serious, folks. If this is allowed to go through, we know how much problems we have here in Multnomah County with our legal system.